Hello, my name is Elis Adelle. I'm an intuitive tarot reader and astrologer, and I'm here to talk to you today about the full moon in Capricorn on July 20th or 21st, depending on where you are on the planet. This is a very potent lunar cycle and a very potent full moon. And I believe that this full moon is going to be bringing up to the surface and highlighting mental and emotional patterns, stories that have been running in our subconscious, unconscious mind that no longer serve us and that keep us from our highest expression of self. So I'm going to get into why that is. And I guess the first place to begin would be that the new moon that began this lunar cycle was conjunct Sirius. And Sirius is a fixed star that has, to me, a lot to do with our higher self, with higher states of consciousness, with alignment to our spiritual essence, with communing with that part of us that is eternal and with us from lifetime to lifetime, that part of us that is pulling us forward on our soul's evolutionary journey. So because the new moon was conjunct Sirius, that speaks to me that this full moon is going to be illuminating and bringing to light energies that pertain to that higher self, that higher essence. And this full moon that we're going into now is going to be at the anaretic degree, the 29th degree of Capricorn. And what this is speaking to me of is that, and also Pluto is at 1 degree of Aquarius, just a few degrees away. So this is speaking to me about the Pluto journey that we're all on right now as Pluto is making this transition into Aquarius. Because Pluto is retrograde right now. Sorry, my cat is here, if you might hear him meowing. Pluto will be retrograding back into Capricorn to that 29th degree, that anaretic degree, that shamanic degree of Capricorn for the last time in our lifetimes and for another 280-year cycle between September 1st and November 19th later in the year. So, what's happening now with the moon at that 29th degree, at that anaretic degree? The moon is bringing us forward our emotions, our feelings, our traumas, and our fears that are related to leaving behind the ways of being which were relevant to us during the Pluto in Capricorn cycle. Now, Pluto was in Capricorn from 2008 to 2024, right now. Like this year, it's making the final transition. So what's really been coming up for all of us and what this full moon is highlighting is the coping mechanisms, the thought patterns, the emotions, and the ways of being that have been relevant or were relevant during that time frame from 2008 to 2023, let's say. So whatever's coming up for you, these are probably going to be long-standing patterns that have been with you for a long time. These are going to be ways of being that probably were very habitual and not maybe things that we weren't totally aware of or couldn't fully see or perceive that were actually playing out and happening. And the other part of the reason for that is that this lunar cycle is the lunar cycle where we're getting back to the organic lunar flow. And what I mean by that is since April or March of last year, 2023, we've been in a reverse lunar cycle where at the beginning of the new zodiac sign, so for example, this last Cancer season, when we entered Cancer season, what usually happens is we have a new moon in Cancer right at the beginning. But if you'll remember, at the beginning of Cancer season, what actually happened is we had that first full moon in Capricorn back at the beginning of Cancer season, which was pertaining to the lunar cycle which began in Gemini season, the new moon in Gemini. For the last over a year, we've been in this cycle where the new moon has been in one sign, and instead of it being in the full moon being in its opposite complementary, which is the natural organic way that the new and full moon play out, it's been in the next sign over, because the new moon has been more towards in the middle of the zodiac sign season when the sun is in that sign, and so it's been pushing the full moons forward into the next sign. So what this creates when the lunar cycle is off in this way, when the new moon and the full moon are not pertaining to each other, they're complementary opposites, what can happen is a kind of like fracturing in our emotional body, a kind of lack of like continuity, a lack of flow, a lack of congruence. It can create patterns that we have a difficult time perceiving. It can create emotional reactivity that is hard to get a grip on or to understand. It can create emotions that are confusing. It just creates a kind of like imbalance in our emotional realm, right? So now that this is also the first lunar cycle that's getting back on track, that's getting back to that complementary opposite sign, is also very telling to me, because it's conjunct Sirius. So it's the new moon that began this lunar cycle that is bringing us back to the organic flow of the new and full moon and the lunar cycle. Because it was conjunct Sirius, it's really talking to me about this next whole phase that we're in, this next year and a little bit, where the lunar cycle is going to be in this organic phase, is going to be about massive emotional growth, because it's in the sign of Cancer, massive emotional and spiritual growth that aligns us to that inner being, to that higher self, right? And so this full moon is going to be bringing forward these thought patterns, these emotions, these ways of being that were relevant to us during that Pluto in Capricorn cycle, but that moving forward are not going to be relevant anymore. Because Pluto is about our soul. Pluto is about the soul's evolutionary journey. And Pluto pulls us into a new expression. So wherever Pluto is in your birth chart, that's where Pluto is inviting you to go on a new soul's journey. So it's important for you to know where Aquarius is in your birth chart, what house Aquarius is ruling, because this is the place where Pluto is inviting you to step up and embody in a new way, to embody some other aspect of yourself that has to do with these Aquarian themes of higher states of consciousness, of equality and equity, of justice, of global thinking and community, of the cosmic library, right? All of the knowledge and multidimensional awareness that Aquarius represents. How can we embody that? How can we become that? How can we bring that into ourselves and into our lives in a new way? The house that is ruled by Aquarius in your birth chart, where Pluto is moving into, can tell you how you're being invited to do so. And this full moon is going to be highlighting any of the final hiccups or snags, emotional and mental snags, that might be holding you back and keeping you from that full embodiment process, okay? And it's important to be aware that from September 1st to November 19th, this is going to be a period of time where everything that's coming up this full moon for all of us individually and as a collective is going to be worked through or rehashed during that time. So between September 1st to November 19th, you're going to be reworking, like ironing out the kinks, and fully releasing these things that are coming up during this full moon and stepping into the new embodiment, right? And we can see this on even like a political scale in the United States with what happened with Trump this last weekend and the Mars-Uranus conjunction, where, there was some kind of attempt on his life. Whether it was staged or not, I have no idea. And I don't have any opinion about that really. What I'm here to just say is that the result of what that event happened with Trump over this last weekend is going to play out specifically during that time, September 1st to November 19th. That's the period of time where the US elections are. That's going to be the period of time where the politics will be ramping up, leading up to the election in early November. So it's very interesting to see how the astrology plays out in that way, that the things that are coming up now, the drama, the trauma, the emotional issues, the mental stories, the narratives that are coming up now, that we are perceiving and seeing, are going to be worked out during that time. Okay, so I think that's what I wanted to say about the astrology. I'm going to now pull some cards. Okay, so let's see, what is it that we need to know? What do we need to know about this full moon that maybe I haven't said already? What do we need to know about this full moon that I have not spoken about already? Is there anything we need to know? Anything that I'm not perceiving? What do we need to know about this full moon, please? Okay. Ooh, wow. How interesting. We have the King of Wands, the Queen of Wands, and the Emperor. Talk about power, strength, stepping into sovereignty, stepping up and stepping into our new creative power, with the Knight of Cups reversed at the bottom of the deck. Yeah, this is about our personal power. This is about our autonomy. This is about our individuation process. Because what's interesting about Pluto in Aquarius is that it wants us to individuate. Although it's a very community-oriented and globally conscious sign and a period of time, what's unique about Pluto in Aquarius is that it's inviting each of us as a unique individual with a we got cut off there. I'm not sure where we got cut off, but what I was saying is that what's interesting about this Pluto in Aquarius time that we're moving into is that although Aquarius is a very globally oriented sign and a very community oriented sign and cares very much about the group and the whole being holistically cared for and working in a way that benefits all, it also is very much about doing that through the individuation process. Doing that through the process of embodying our full spiritual, creative gifts. Aquarius is about standing out, to being different, and being strong and proud in our unique talents and gifts and abilities. And this King and Queen of Wands together with the Emperor is really talking to me about that embodying our creative and divine energy, embodying our spiritual and creative energy in such a way where we really can show up, having our masculine and feminine energy balanced so that it's like we're here, we're doing the damn thing, you know, we're not afraid, we're not shy. And the Emperor also, it's about making things happen. The Emperor is an Aries energy, right? It's like another bravery, leadership, individuation card. So it's really interesting that this full moon, it's about this individuation process. And it's about what is holding you back from that individuation process. Knight of Cups reversed at the bottom of the deck. What are the outdated ways of being and expressing and relating in relationships to others that are no longer, that don't make sense anymore? That aren't relevant in your life anymore, that don't need to be held onto just because that's the way you've always done things before. I love that. Okay, what will support us during this full moon? What energy will support us during this full moon, please? What archetypal energy will support us during this full moon? What archetypal energy can we invite into our psyches, into our minds, and into our spirits to assist us during this full moon process? What energy will assist us during this full moon, please? I'm going to take this time to thank you for being here. If you're still here, if you're still listening, I'm very grateful to have you. What will assist us, please, during this full moon? What archetypal energy will assist us and support us during this full moon? What archetypal energy will assist us and support us during this full moon? Detective. Great powers of observation and intuition, desire to seek out the truth, shadow attributes, voyeurism, falsifying information. So, very interesting. Thank you. With teacher at the bottom of the deck. Ability to communicate knowledge, experience, skill, or wisdom. Shadow attributes, manipulating or abusing students, teaching negative traits and destructive skills. Great powers of observation and intuition, desire to seek out the truth. So this full moon, the detective energy, the desire to use great powers of observation and intuition in order to seek out the truth, that is what's going to help us get into this embodiment and individuation and power and strength and stepping into our full creative life force, magnetism and authenticity, right? You have to be willing to be the detective, to go into the murky places, the parts of your psyche that are maybe more obscure. You have to be willing to go to that past, those past experiences that have that maybe are still creating these stories and narratives, that are still maybe running these subconscious, unconscious programs in your mind. Be the detective. Get in there, right? Get into the nitty gritty. Get in there. And with teacher also, it's very, it's this teacher card is talking to me about this individuation process. I feel that so many of us, especially if you who have been drawn to this video, you are a highly spiritual, creative soul who is here to help bring in this new Aquarian age, this new earth, this 5D consciousness, right, that we're anchoring into the earth, this new way of being, this new kind of human that we are embodying and stepping into. So you're here for that purpose. So you're beginning this process of stepping into your role as a teacher, as a leader, as a way shower, right? So, and that's another thing with the King and Queen of Wands. They are way shower energies to me, and the Emperor as well too. These are way showers. These are the people that go first. These are the people that have the bravery, the courage, and the audacity to stand out from the crowd and to do their own thing and to not be shy about it, right? And that's also very Aquarian, very Aquarian. So let's get one parting message. A parting message, please, for the group of the souls who have been drawn into this reading. What do we need to hear as a parting message of something that we might need to know that will support us or help us, or advice in any way about this full moon, please? Ooh, thank you. Spirit Guardian of Summer, expansion. And Aspen Spirit, courage. Expansion and courage, right? What were we just talking about with the King and Queen of Wands? They are the way showers. They are the ones who are courageous enough to be first, to be leaders, right? And so this is a period of time where we're in an expansive and courageous period, right? For those of you in the Northern Hemisphere, it is summertime for you guys. So this is a very expansive time. This is a time where there's a lot of buoyant energy. There's a lot of physical light around you. So take advantage of that. Get out there, express yourself, and don't be afraid, right? Don't be afraid to get in there, to be the detective. Don't be afraid to step into your full power and authenticity. Don't be afraid to look at any of the things that have kept you from being able to do that moving forward. Wow, thank you. With Bear Spirit healing at the bottom of the deck. I love that. Yeah, that's exactly it. Thank you. Thank you so much. Oh, wow. Thank you. I want to take this moment to thank you if you've made it all the way here to the end. I really appreciate you being here with me. If you enjoyed this little situation here, this little reading, I would encourage you to give the video a like or give me a subscribe. I'd love to have you here for future new and full moon updates. And if you're interested in a personal reading, I am available for tarot and oracle readings. I'm also available for astrology readings. I work with astrology from a soul-centered perspective. I look at the natal chart as a blueprint to your soul and as a roadmap to help us navigate through this life and have the most fulfilling, purposeful, and enjoyable experience possible. I'm also available for the 6 months, 6 month ahead transit readings. This is a really great reading where you get a document that's between 10 and 20,000 words, depending on how much it's activating your personal chart the next 6 months transit. And you get a video recording with me talking about the energy and pulling cards as well. So yeah, if you're interested in any of that, my email is down below, and I'm sending you so much love. Thanks for being here.